Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Living Beyond Limits. You all know I'm Reverend Jennifer Spear. We are part of Centers for Spiritual Living, and so those of you who are joining us online, welcome. And for those of you who are in the room, welcome. I'm so glad you came to spend your morning with us. And so let's begin the service by reading our mission statement that's on the front of your bulletin. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. So to me, that is what we are each doing here at Living Beyond Limits, is we are giving ourselves the opportunity to awaken to that divine presence that is none other than our own spiritual nature. That infinite one that fills all of time and all of space expresses itself so clearly we can see in nature as beauty and as intelligence, as life, as creativity. Well, that same presence expresses itself in and through and as who we are, and it expresses as things like peace and love and the truth of our own wholeness and the truth of our own power, the truth of our own goodness, because it's really as we awaken to the fact that those qualities of spirit, of that eternal one, reside within us, whether we are accessing them or not. They are still present. They are still part of our innate beingness, and they are still accessible to us. So when we are out in the world and it is chaotic, it is crazy, it is tumultuous, it doesn't look loving, we take the responsibility, because we are awake, to tap into that within us and be that presence in the world, to be that change we wish to see, to be spirit in action, which is our own soul nature in action in this world. And as we do that, we become a beneficial presence. And so I thank every one of you for answering the call of your own spirit to be walking this path, to be bringing your light into this world in a way that makes a difference. Thank you, each and every one, for that. One of the principles that we teach here at Living Beyond Limits and at Centers for Spiritual Living is that we are each here on this planet to give expression to that divine presence, to give expression to that eternal thing itself. And so if we are here to give expression to that one, what that also means then is that we are here to give expression to love, that we are here to express love. Also, as human beings walking this planet, we have this need inside of ourselves to actually discover our divine nature, to discover our spirit. And when we discover our own spirit and our own divine nature, what happens is that we then expand how we are in the world. We expand our perception of ourself. We evolve. We unfold something greater than if we had not recognized or come to know our own spiritual nature. And as human beings also, in addition to wanting to discover our own spiritual nature and to feel that and to live that, we also have this desire to assist, to help, to make a difference, to be a beneficial presence in this world. And when we do something that helps someone that helps others, when we do something where we are acting as a beneficial presence in this world, what happens when we do those actions is it gives us access to our spirit. We access our spirit when we do those things. We give way to our spirit and give expression to our spirit when we're doing those things. James Missioner, who is an author, said, "We seek God so earnestly, not to find him, but to discover ourselves." To discover ourselves. And to me, that is really what this spiritual path is all about. To me, it's all about discovering our own divine nature, discovering our own spiritual essence, and then bringing that into the world. To me, that's what this path is really about. And when we do that, then we evolve and we grow and we expand and we unfold. We also, what happens is when we access our own spirit and when we come from our spirit and we act as that beneficial presence in the world, we actually also assist other people in growing and in evolving and in unfolding. In part, we do that just because of our energy and our vibration. You've been around people and you know it's like, oh, it feels so good, I just want to lean into you. People, it helps them grow also just because of our vibration, but it also helps people unfold and expand and grow because then we are being an example and they learn from that example. You probably know this. You know, social science tells us that people look to others to tell them how to behave and what to do in the world. And especially if we're unsure, we look to other people. There are lots and lots of studies, and one of them talks about how if you're somewhere where there's a big lawn and there's sidewalks that go around the lawn, everyone walks on the sidewalk until one person walks over the lawn. As soon as one person does it, all sorts of people start walking across the grass. We look to others to tell us what to do. That is why there are testimonials trying to sell things. Oh, this person must be wise, so I'm going to do it. That's why they have us like things on Facebook and stuff. The more people that like something, the more people are apt to look at it and follow it. I remember when I was in New York City one time, first time I was ever there, and you know, here we stop at the red light and you wait for the light to change before you cross the street. It only took me about 3 lights to realize, oh, I don't have to do that and follow everyone else along crossing the street against the red light as soon as the traffic passed. But we look to other people to inform us as what to do and how to behave. And because we here are consciously walking this spiritual path, then that fulfills that need also just for us to evolve. And the byproduct, like I said, is a positive impact on this planet and a positive impact on other people. But it takes being awake. It takes conscious awareness, mindfulness to come from our spirit, to be that spiritual presence rather than just to come from our intellect, just coming from our head. You know, we have been enculturated in this culture to think that our intellect is so much better and so much more powerful than our spirit. We've been taught to give credit to our intellect, but not to that spiritual knowing or that spiritual leading, that which we feel guided from the inside. We give all of our credit to our intellect. And as you all know, your intellect is so much louder than your spirit, so much more verbose, so much more intense and forceful than that voice of our spirit, that voice of that ultimate essence that is part of our spiritual makeup. I've been reading a book this week called Spiritual Activism. It's by James O'Day. He talks about a man named Ibn Arabi, who was a Sufi mystic that was born in 1165. He is the first person to delineate or lay out the concept of the unity of being. The first person to lay out that all things are manifestations of a single reality or absolute being, which is what we believe. So Ibn Arabi said, he reminds us that it is obvious that our senses are limited. Less obvious is the fact that the intellect is the world of limitation. He even reminds us that the root of the Arabic word intellect means restraining cord. But the heart is compounded of a more universal substance. Rather than being restrained, its essential nature opens to embrace wholeness. He goes on to say, when the heart opens, it unites not with intellect, but with higher reason. Our heart connects us to a higher reason than our intellect. Our heart connects us to a more expansive perspective than our intellect does. And with all the stuff that is going on in the world right now, and all of the stuff that is going on in our country, and all of the stuff that is going on in the political arena, the voice of our intellect can be really loud and really verbose. That voice of that intellect is so often the voice of fear and worry and concern and anger and frustration. And in addition to all of that, one of the things that I keep noticing lately is the way people are driving. It's crazy. I was driving the other day on Bellflower Boulevard, which is 4 lanes going each way. Left-hand turn lane, 2 driving lanes, right-hand lane, sitting at a red light. The person in the right-hand lane against the red light decided to turn left in front of all 4 lanes of traffic. And so how about you? Are you finding yourself frustrated and overwhelmed and angry and all of that stuff and your head going on and on and on? You know, in the midst of all those feelings, what happens is we are overflowing with judgment, with othering those other people. We are so filled with how wrong those people are. That's what we're doing all day, it seems like. And I'm not saying that those people aren't wrong, but what I am saying is you can't separate spirituality from politics. You can't separate spirituality from politics. You can't separate spirituality from drivers. You can't separate your spirituality from anything that is going on in the world. It is all part of our spiritual path. And so I have a question for you. When you're feeling those feelings, does your anger and your focus on how messed up this world is, does it foster and encourage your spiritual evolution? Or does it hinder it? When you are focused on your anger and your frustration and how messed up everything is, does it help you grow and evolve and unfold your spiritual nature? Or does it thwart it? I think the problem is we think that our anger is going to help. Don't you? We get angry, we think it's going to help. But you know what? It does help if it motivates you to make positive changes. If it motivates you to do something that creates a positive change in yourself, in your environment, in the world. But if it isn't causing you to make positive changes, if your anger and your focus isn't creating greater good in your life or greater good in the world, what is it doing? Ask yourself that. If it's not motivating me to make positive changes, what is it doing? And so the title of my talk today is A New Kind of Activism. And I'm talking about that each and every single one of us is called to evolve. We are called to grow. And part of the way that we evolve, part of the way we expand is actually by moving from our head to our heart. Part of the way that we expand and evolve and unfold is to move from our intellect to our spirit. Our spirit always leads us to something greater. Always leads us to something greater. I'm not saying don't use your intellect. Of course we have to use our intellect. But what I am saying is we have to recognize that our intellect is limited. We have to realize that our intellect is wrong when it is trying to convince us that it has all the facts. Your intellect doesn't have all the facts. Your intellect doesn't understand the whole story. And so what if you allowed yourself to get angry and frustrated and whatever the feelings are that you do in the moment, but then afterwards you did something different? What if then you did something to create greater peace in yourself or greater peace in the world? What if, after whatever the incident is that's happening in the world, you said a prayer for them? What if you sent them a blessing? Do you know the word blessing means to make holy, to make sacred? And so blessing to me is nothing more than recognizing that that infinite presence is in them also. That's what I do every Sunday when I'm up here doing that affirmative prayer for our politicians and decision makers and all that. I'm recognizing that that intelligence lives in them also. Because the way the law works is when we know something and our consciousness is filled with it, we create more of it. We draw it to us. We expand it. We create more of it. So if I can recognize the person that's acting stupid, that the intelligence of spirit is in them also, it creates greater room for that to come forward in this world. So what if you did an affirmative prayer for that person? Centers for Spiritual Living teaches us that affirmative prayer frees us from limited ideas. It frees us from our limited beliefs so that we can experience something more. It gets our limited thinking out of the way. The limited thinking that you've put this person in a box and this is all they are. Stupid, a jerk, whatever the stories are that you make up. So what if you opened yourself to receive more? What if you created room for something greater to happen? You know, in Ephesians 3:20 in the Bible, it says, there is a power at work within us that is able to accomplish abundantly far more than we can ask or imagine. But we have to create room for it. Spirit can't work where there's no room for it. We have to create room in our consciousness, in our thinking, so spirit can unfold itself in miraculous and beautiful and healing ways. And what if you made a conscious decision to not add any more fuel to the fire of separation that we are experiencing in this country? If you decided to not add any fuel to that fire, what if you sent them love? What if you looked in that situation or in that person or in that moment for some beauty? The man that I was telling you about, Ibn Arabi, he was a mystic, and they said his greatest realization in his entire life that wherever you recognize beauty, it moves you into love. Think about that. Every time you see something that is beautiful, your heart opens. So if in that moment of your frustration, your anger, look for something beautiful. Whether it's something outside or even more challenging as part of your spiritual path, can you see some sort of beauty inside of them? Maybe the way they take care of their kids. Maybe the way they go to work and support their family. I don't know what it is. Can you find some beauty in that moment? That moves you into that place of love and allows you to access your spirit. When we witness beauty anywhere, our hearts open. And so what if you chose to be the change you want to see in the world right in the midst of the stuff you don't like? Right in the midst of the stuff that looks ugly. If you decided to be the change you wish to see. We all remember Amanda Gorman. She reminded us, For there is always light if we are only brave enough to see it, if we're only brave enough to be it. And so what are you willing to do differently? What are you willing to do differently to help tilt the scales to more peace? To help tilt the scales toward the world that you want to live in? What are you willing to do differently? And so my invitation to you this week is to make that conscious decision to not add any more fuel to that fire of separation. To not add any more fuel to the fire of strife in this country or anywhere in the world. To practice moving from your intellect to your heart, and then look at the situation from your heart and see what it has to say. And the more you practice moving from your head to your heart, the more automatic it will become, and the easier it will be to do that. But it takes consciously doing it to start that process. Thinking about it. I'm going to move from my head, from my intellect to my heart right now. How does my heart see this? It's a different picture. And remember that everything that shows up in our lives gives us the opportunity to choose. You can choose to evolve and to grow and to expand. You can choose to discover more of your divine nature. You can choose in that moment to decide who you are and who you want to be. Everything gives you the opportunity to decide who you are and who you want to be. And once something tweaks you in the world, which it assuredly will, say a prayer, send some love, see beauty, be the light, be the change you wish to see in the world. Practice a new kind of activism. One that heals, and one that sets the tone for the world we all want to live in. And as a result, you'll be participating in your own healing, as well as being a healing presence and a healing energy in this world. You'll be participating in your own evolution and be being that beneficial presence that your spirit longs to be in this world. And so blessings to every single one of you on this path of remembering, this path of deciding who you are and who you want to be in the world. Blessings to you. And so I invite you to join me as we turn our attention to the capital T truth. That yes, indeed, that infinite one is ever present. That infinite one and all that it is. All of the love, all of the good, all of the peace and the wholeness and the power and the beauty and the magnificence, the intelligence, the love. All that it is present right here where we are. And not just in this moment, but in every single moment, the fullness of the presence of Spirit is right where we are. Even when it doesn't look like it, we recognize it as present. In us, in the other person, Spirit present in and through all of it. For I recognize and know that we are each incarnations of this one, out-picturings of that presence. And not just us here, but every single person on this planet. Therefore, that presence right now, I know, is unfolding itself in the heart and in the mind of every single person on this planet, of every politician, of every single world leader, of every single person that is making decisions today. The intelligence of God, the infinite intelligence of this cosmos, the one that enables birds to migrate even when they're sleeping, that intelligence is present in them. And right now, it is making decisions through them, the highest decisions for humanity, for this family of humanity. I know the truth that there is only one of us here on planet Earth, for we are all just individuations of that one. And therefore, we are eternally connected to each other, connected in this family of humanity, connected in love, connected in truth. And so today, in recognition of this presence, we consciously choose to let go of littleness. We consciously choose to let go of adding fuel to the fire of separation. We consciously choose to show up as love and to show up as truth, to show up as hope and inspiration and high vision, and to bring that forward into our lives, to bring that forward into our relationships and into this country, for it is calling for us to be that. And so today we make a new commitment to be that light, to be that change, to bring our spirit and our hearts into every moment with us. And for that, I am grateful. And so I release this prayer into that creative law of reflection, knowing that it is being reflected right back at us from everything around us. And so we rest in faith and in trust and in confidence. And I release this prayer in that faith. And I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. And so I have a couple of invitations for you as a way to participate in this family. One is we are going to be doing a book study workshop on the book, The Four Agreements. It is so life applicable and an easy read, but big life application stuff. It's going to be held on Thursday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. beginning August 6th. There is a sign-up sheet in the back. Please sign up if you are interested in taking it. And you are absolutely welcome to bring friends, neighbors, anyone who might be interested. In fact, what we're going to do as a way to introduce people to us, if you want to bring a friend, your friend can take the class for free. The class is only $55 for the 5-week class, but they can take it for free. So sign up, talk to people about it, and see if there's anybody else that wants to join us. Pat and Mike are still working with the unhoused in Long Beach. In fact, Pat has been nominated, is that what it is? Nominated to actually work with the city council and the mayor of Long Beach in an advisory capacity about homeless stuff that's going on in Long Beach. So that's pretty cool. Congratulations. We have prayer support after service. If you would like prayer, the practitioners are happy to sit down with you. We have prayer shawls. If you would like to be wrapped in that energy of prayer, you are welcome to take a prayer shawl home with you. The practitioners will pray over it before you go. We invite you to like us on Facebook, follow us, share our posts, share the things on Instagram that we put out. Also, the last Sunday of this month, we are going to be meeting in the park, and we're going to be having a picnic again. So put that in your little calendar, and we'll be there. So I invite you to join me in this one last affirmation. The love and light of Spirit are within me now.
The love and light of Spirit are within me now.
I own it.
I own it.
I share it.
I share it.
I bless it.
I bless it.
I am it.
I am
And
it.
so it is.
So it is.